Yeah, I'm pretty surprised by this. My top category that sold in February is a category that I have never had a top category, let alone even really source for it anymore, and kind of have marked it off my list altogether. So I may need to be rethinking some of this strategy here with sourcing. I'm going to be sharing with you guys my top 20 gross revenue categories for the month of February 2023, and then showing you the actual items that contributed to this one random top category for me to see if maybe I need to be rethinking my strategy. Let's dig into it. If you guys are new to the channel, what we're going to be looking at is a Sarah Style Sales and Trends dashboard. Quickly, I'm going to just show you how my month ended. $8,576. I sold 265 items, 95% to my goal. If you want more information on this and the breakout between this and eBay, I'll link the video up here that goes into that, along with my top 10 best sales of the month. But today I want to look at my top gross revenue categories. So what we're looking at, again, Sarah Style Sales and Trends dashboard. If you want your information as well, you can purchase this down below. It's a one-time purchase of a Google Sheet, and then you can have access to this data for yourself as well. We're looking at my top 20 categories by gross revenue. Here we have sell-through rate. So sell-through rate is how many of your items are selling out of how many you have for sale on a percentage basis, right? You are looking at a rate so that you can tell if you say, hey, I sold 500 pairs of jeans, but you have 5,000 pairs of jeans available, that's not necessarily great. If you sold 500 pairs of jeans and you only have 1,000 available, that's a 50% sell-through rate. That's why we look at a rate and not the quantity, because it gives us a better indication of how things are performing, whether it's categories or platforms or your inventory altogether. Looking at a rate is going to give you a better metrics of how things are performing for you. And then down on the bottom, we have your average profit. So this is your gross revenue for the item, on average, how much it sold, and simply just taking out your cost of goods. It's not taking out shipping fees and expenses. If you want a full overview of that side of my business, check out my How Much Money I Made playlist. All right, so my top categories, I sell women's fashion, so there's not even 20 on here, to be honest. If you sell in more categories, you would probably have, the 20 in here. But shoes, pants, jeans, jackets, bags, dresses, tops, sweaters, skirts, intimates, accessories, shorts, sleepwear, swim, and romper. So let's start down here. We're looking at my dresses. Right, and this is where it matters. So I sold a lot of dresses, but I also have 500 available, and they're only selling at 4.8% sell-through rate. Now, it's the winter, that's likely going to increase, but how do you know if this is a good sell-through rate? Base it off of yourself and base it off of the market. So 4.84%, if I come back over here and say, hey, for the month of February, my sell-through rate in total was 9.05%. This is about half of that. It's a terrible sell-through rate. If you don't have access to your data, you can go ahead and look in eBay Terapeak data. I'll link a video up here of how to do that, and it'll tell you, hey, what were we looking at? Women's dresses have this sell-through rate. So you can see kind of how you are compared to the market. Then you have shoes, a 7% sell-through rate, $32 average profit, accessories 6%, 22, tops 7%. These are all like my worst performing categories, friends. So let's go ahead and look at my best performing categories. Intimates, 17.95%. Friends, that is double what my sell-through rate is, a profit of $19. And you can see the circle is small, which means I don't have very many available. Skirts, this is the one I'm talking about today. This never makes it to the top, ever. I actually don't really pick up skirts anymore. I have someone who's sourcing for me now, and so if they find something good, they will pick it up, and I think that's why this is improving. They will look at the skirts and pick things up if it's a good skirt. I just stopped looking at skirts altogether because typically and historically, my skirts were trash. No one buys skirts, but 13% as a sell-through rate and a 22% average profit. So you guys want to see what skirts are selling for me this month? Let's take a look. I don't even know how to say this. Beige. It's a skirt. It's a wrap. It's 40. You could tell it's by the tag. So I probably would have looked at this because I think it was silk. Oh, it's polyester, but it felt like it was silk. And because it's a 40, it's probably made, it's not US made. So oftentimes that's going to be a little bit of a higher quality. Oftentimes, not always. Rebecca Taylor, friends, let me know if you're in women's fashion. Rebecca Taylor is like hit or miss. That, and I'm going to say it wrong, but it's Joie. I want to say Joy, but I know that's not how you pronounce it. Those two brands, and Tina Turk. Let me know down below which ones you guys are noticing too. They have such a high MSRP, so they're selling retail really high and their resale value is in the gutter. Rebecca Taylor though, sometimes every once in a while something will come up. I think something that helped this was Clueless Mean Girls Y2K because it was kind of that style. Also Gossip Girly kind of style. Good American is definitely a great brand to have. This actually, they filed a return, and now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know that it actually came in. They filed a return because it didn't fit, but it was new with tags. So Good American, typically jeans, but this was a new with tag skirt. Tadashi, friends, I'm terrible at pronouncing it. I do like selling this brand. Typically it's dresses. Sometimes they have like a top, a silk. It's a very high-end brand. Again, this probably retailed in the 90s for, you know, hundreds of dollars. It sold for $33, but it's $33 I didn't have before. Free People, friends. This is, now you're going to notice the split out between Poshmark and eBay here for skirts and in general. If you guys watched my other video, you know that eBay far exceeds Poshmark. This is the only skirt that sold on Poshmark for February. Everything else held on eBay, but this is a modern vegan suede mini skirt. Again, this is, it's based more off of the style. This is more of like that Y2K. Think about Christina Aguilera with her mini skirts and her Ugg boots, right? That style is coming back in. I'm surprised I didn't put Y2K in the title. That probably would have helped it sell a bit quicker. Vintage linen. So if you're not really sure like what to buy and what to pick up, if it's silk, if it's linen, if it's wool, you know, a lot of these nicer quality fabrics, look at it and run the comps on it. That's, as you're going through and learning, you'll start to feel the texture as well as you're going through thrift stores or at the bins to figure out, okay, that feels like linen. It's something that it's not necessarily going to sell higher, but it's an indicator that it might be something or a brand that you don't know that you want to look up. Emily M, this is vintage again as well. It's just a long velvet skirt. So I'm noticing a lot of vintage here. This was so cute. If I would have tried it on, I probably would have kept it. I love this like longer accordion skirt. It's Topshop. Topshop doesn't always sell super high, but if you get some of their newer styles and their newer brands, it's very, you know, it's more of a fast fashion type of brand. But if you get some of their newer styles, you're probably going to see some sales from it as well. Athleta, this is a skirt. I actually had this for a minute. I've gotten quite a few offers on it, but I knew that it would sell a little bit higher if I waited out until closer to spring and summer. Finally got an offer that I thought was reasonable, so I did end up taking it. Levi's, friends, are you noticing the trend here? Clueless, schoolgirl, 90s, Y2K. So even in the skirt realm, this is a trend that is selling. Horny Toad, this was a new with tags, A-line skirt. I'm in Colorado, so oftentimes you're going to see Athleta, Horny Toad, the North Face, Columbia, a lot of these like outdoorsy brands as well. They don't sell super high, but it's a pretty consistent seller for me. Again, Y2K vintage type of skirt that you're seeing here. Definitely a theme that you're seeing in the skirts. Like I said, I don't always pick up skirts, but when I do, right, when in Rome, those are the ones that are selling for me. Let me know what your guys' top category was for this month.